And next up, we have a very special guest from a company that all the people even remotely familiar with no-code world, and maybe a ton of people even not familiar with no-code world have heard of and used for. It's the company called Typeform. We have Nicolas Grenié, a developer advocate at Typeform, that is going to share his insights about how no-code has reconnected him to his original purpose to work. And it's going to be an interesting conversation because Nicolas is actually a developer. So it's a tough bunch when it comes to pitching no-code pros, and they're always the most skeptical ones in terms of realizing and accepting the benefits that this brings for everyone. So it feels really great to have not only a developer but also a representative of a big company that came to share his insights about where this all goes, how this personally inspired him and resonated with him, and I'm sure this will be full of amazing insights. Nicolas, thank you for being with us, and the stage is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this great introduction. Want to make sure that everybody got to see the slide. Everything works perfectly. As you said in the introduction, I work for a company called Typeform. If you're not familiar with Typeform, we are trying to make the connection between the brands and the customers a bit more conversational, a bit more personal. So you get the best when people get to your interactions and they give you the feedback. This whole thing is the idea that we can be more than just asking name, last name, and we can be more like, hey, what's your first name? How we should call you? All right, Nico, what's your favorite dish? This type of thing. So we're engaging at a more personal level. We've done this through forms for many years, but we're also starting to do this for about a year now with another product called Video Ask. If you haven't tried it, it's we basically say that the best interface is your face and you interact directly with your audience. That's even better. In this company, my role, I'm a developer advocate, and what I do is really to engage with our developer community. We have a bunch of APIs that people can build on top of, and they either make some apps for themselves or make some apps to be part of a broader marketplace. But while I'm talking to developers, I think I'm also talking to no coders because we're the same type of people. You also are builders, and you also have some crazy ideas of how to connect things together. So you're my people as well. I'm also personally a no coder in the terms of like whenever I can save time and whenever I don't have to build something, I'm the happiest in the world. So no coders and developers united. But when we build this type of SaaS company, similar to Typeform, we've been around for a couple of years. I feel that sometimes we get a bit lost into the startup jargon. So we're going to talk about what is our ideal ICP, our ideal client profile, what is our RPAR, what is the ARR, are we going to build the next lead generation form? So we get to be lost a bit into this marketing thing, then we get to forget a bit who we are, where we come from, and why we're building those things. And we're part of a bigger thing. We are just a little piece of the whole puzzle, going piece by piece, bit by bit, trying to connect things together and have a more impactful and meaningful impact into the world. This is how I envision how we do those things. And I think this became even clearer recently when this whole pandemic started. The reason why I can't be with you in the room and why we can't all be together, why the world has stopped, I think it was also an opportunity for all of us to ask the question of how do we want to contribute and what is our impact into this world. Personally, that hit me because we were locked down in San Francisco. Our families were locked down in France, in Spain, in other places. And the only thing I was seeing every day was just a small window on the outside and the other four walls of my room and my roommates. And it was a real questioning on, is this the life we want to be? Do we want to be more connected to nature? Do you want to be more connected with other folks? In fact, we're all social animals. And we've been missing this connection. And through all this introspection, I got to ask myself what was the type of job I was looking for and how I was connecting to the job that I was doing. And lucky for me and lucky for the company, I found my way and I got to connect again. And I think this comes from a couple of stories I heard, a couple of stories we got to see during these times, and they're all no-code stories. So I hope that through those stories, you see the no-code space as a way to build meaningful applications that have a real impact. And those stories help me finding my real purpose right now, and hope they inspire you as well. Let's get started with a project called MaxMatch. So if you remember the beginning, that was already a long time ago, and a lot of things had happened since then. But in the beginning, mainly in the US and probably in other countries, there was a shortage of masks, N95 and more protective masks for the frontline workers, the people that were working in the hospitals, because they didn't have enough stock. Turns out a lot of people at home had stocks. So if you've been doing a paint job at your house, you probably have an N95 mask at your house. If you were living in California and you were affected by the California fires, you probably had a mask already. Like this, there was a ton of stock that was sitting at people's places. Wouldn't it be better if those masks were sent to the people in the front line to help them with the urgent need? Well, this is exactly what this team built. They built a tool to match the people that had masks and the people that were in need for masks. And in a matter of a couple of days, they were able to distribute and connect people, sending thousands of masks. In the whole crisis, they distributed about 800,000 masks all over the US, Canada, and Puerto Rico. This is only the impact they had for those countries, but imagine if others have doing this as well in other places. What they did is connect the donors and the recipients. There were about 6,000 on both sides. And if you check MaxMatch on Twitter, you will see the number of reactions from the people that were receiving them and the impact that it had on people that were sending them. The way they've done this, it was quite simple in terms of stack. If we look at how the impact they had for such a simple stack, they use a Squarespace website, point and click, building a website, make it look your brand beautiful. And they had basically two type forms. One, if you had masks to give, and one, if you wanted to receive some masks. You were filling up your information, and then they will do the matching for you. Eventually, you will receive a text using Twilio that say, hey, Nico, go to the post office and send a box of all the masks you have, so the one that you said you have available, to this address. And on the other side, a healthcare worker will receive those masks in a couple of days. So it's incredible that with such a simple stack, they were able to achieve so much. And this is just the beginning. There were many other projects. Another example is the COVID supplies example. They were based in New York, and same problem. As there were a shortage of masks, they roll up their sleeves and try to find out what would be the solution to protect all those workers. Turns out, and we all seen this, that the face shield that was built through 3D printing and a bit of plastic wrap was quite efficient to get started. And so it was a mix between entrepreneurs and people in a maker lab that had a 3D printers accessible. They built a supply chain to supply face shields to a lot of hospitals. In the course of the pandemic, they distributed more than 15,000 face shields in the New York area. That's about 200 hospitals that got those face shields. And they even did a fundraising that got more than $60,000 of donations. So quite incredible. But again, the stack to make this happen was quite simple. A simple WordPress website with Elementor, which is like a layer on top that also make it easy to edit the website. A Typeform. So if you were a healthcare worker in need for this face shield, you can reach out to them and say, like, I'm there, we have that much need. And then Zapier in the middle to do all the glue between all those different tools. Like this, they can send an email to tell you when your order was on the way. They can reach out to volunteers, and then they can coordinate the whole effort. So really impressive result for such a simple stack and a very efficient impact. This is what was happening at the beginning of the pandemic. Everybody was trying to give some help on the front line. But as we were going into this and as it was lasting, we saw other businesses were also impacted. And this is a story in London, the story of a bar, which we all miss. We all miss going to the bar and socialize in those places. It's a music bar and a live jazz band bar. So definitely when they were closed, it was more than just like the selling that was impacted. The musicians that were performing in this bar every night were also impacted. So they decided to give them an opportunity to do stuff at home. And what they did is coordinate the community they had around this bar to offer lessons, drumming lessons, guitar lessons, trumpet lessons at home. And like this give another activity to the performers. Again, a pretty simple stack. A Squarespace, another website editor, a Typeform where people give their interest and say like, I would like to receive a guitar lesson, and they give their availability and where they are in the city. And Zapier, like this, they could connect the performers and the students on the other side, giving them the best experience and making everybody connected over music. Pretty impressive. We also got another story that's even closer to us because they were based in Barcelona. It's the story of the Yellow Bakery. They've been open for a couple of years in Barcelona, and they've been doing awesome bread. And but the lockdown hit pretty hard on them. They were not an essential business, and they couldn't have the right to be open. And the lockdown rules were pretty strict in Barcelona. So you can only go out once a week, one person per the family to go get the groceries. And so huge impact and huge problematic here. They tried to get organized, and they got organized, but with the tools that they know about. So they took orders by WhatsApp or Instagram. So imagining that you receive every night hundreds of messages as like, oh, tomorrow, by the way, I want 2 loaves of bread. Oh, could you add 4 croissants, by the way? And then so many other things. It was a mess to deal with. They had so many demand, and they were doing this very manually. They were handling payments quite in a manual way, just sending their PayPal link at the end of the transaction. There was already a bunch of messages, and they had no way to track if the people that actually talked to them were actually making the orders and paying after this. So the good thing for them is that one of their customer, his mom was a customer of their bakery, and she was in need for this bakery and this bread. Lucky for them, this person worked at a no-code tool company in Barcelona, and he made an app for them. And so he turned this whole process into a very digital process. This is how the app looked like at the end, and it was pretty standard. You can just order the breads that you want. You had the prices available, and they made it available in one day into iOS and Android. How they did this? They use a tool called Bravo Studio, company based in Barcelona. And if you haven't heard about Bravo, it turns you Figma design into a native mobile app. So you first do something on Figma, turn it into here, and connect it with APIs. Like this, you have an app that looks like your branding, and you haven't coded any line. So very efficiently, they had an app up there. Inside, it was using a Typeform, again, to do the orders, connected with Stripe, so they can collect the money directly, and they can assure that when someone was placing an order, they were getting paid. The orders were then sent to Google Spreadsheets, and in Google Spreadsheet, then they had the formulas to know how many bread they had to bake every morning, and how many orders got placed, and how many orders got picked already. So they certainly turned into something that was very manual, very papery, very not really organized, into a more sustainable organization. This was very important for them because they're also parents, and so any minute that they can save is minute they can spend with their family. This was really inspiring for us on the way they build those things, but there was another story that really got us, and this is the story of the Schmale family. The Schmale family, they're based in France. They're based in Chamonix. If you've been around Chamonix, you know it's around the Mont Blanc in the Alps, and they sell vegetables onto the farmers market. They've been doing this for 35 years, going into different farmers market every day in the valley. But when the lockdown hit, the farmers market got closed in France. So their main activity got closed and got shut down. This was their only revenue and the only way to sustain their activity. It was also at the worst moment in time because it's the beginning of the season. After a slow winter, they were about to get back on track, get started, bring the activity back, get the tourists back into the valley, and the lockdown shut down everything. So they had to react fast. And what they did is, thanks to their son, Florent, who is based in Canada, so on the other side of the world, he's a marketing specialist at a company there, And he basically put up a first Typeform introducing themselves. Hey, we're the Schmale Family. We've been in the markets for 35 years. You know us, you know our product. Because of the lockdown, we can't be near you. We can't be delivering all the awesome stuff to you. But we're interested to know, would you like to receive a box of vegetables next week? And they shared this link over all the local Facebook groups that they had in the valley, into all the different publicities that they have there, all the different groups. And suddenly, in a matter of 2 days, they had 150 orders. This is more than they could have expected. And the thing that was beautiful for them there is that they already had the money in their account because it was connected to Stripe. So whenever someone was placing an order, the money was already there. They knew how much they had to buy the vegetables, and they were already able to deliver stuff. So this changed totally what they used to do. They were never online before this. They are not tech savvy. It was the first time they got to interact with technology. They use in the stack, they use, as we said, a Typeform, a Stripe to process payments, a Google spreadsheet to take care and track of all the different orders, and to keep the customers in the loop and get them connected and notified whenever an order was coming their way. They use Sendinblue. Sendinblue was this. They were able to send SMS to reassure that the order was placed, to reassure that the order was about to be delivered, and ask them to order for the next week. So they're doing this every week. They've been doing this for 18 weeks. And finally, they use another tool called zeroqode. And zeroqode is a tool for route optimization. So the route optimization was very important for them because they have a truck and they go all around the small villages in the valley. And they were able to track what was the best optimized route to do this. And I remember this specifically because when we talked to Florent the first time, he was actually following from Canada the track of his parents on the GPS, on the map, knowing if they were at the order 100, 101, and they were going through the list like this. It was quite impressive to see how this family got together thanks to this project and the things that they were able to build. Right now, for this family, this is the time where they will go 100% online. They realize that it's a more sustainable business for them, that they don't have to do all the hard work of loading and unloading the truck every single day at the market, and they will just do the deliveries. They will even hire someone. So this no-code project that started just as a family project had even more impact in the local economy because they're hiring someone else to join this project. They even partner with local shops to be delivery point. So now they're going to deliver your box at the local flower shop, or they will deliver the box at your local bakery. Like this, they're bringing other business in the loop and really building a circular economy type of thing. So it all started from a no-code project, and it has so much impact on the local communities there and the local economy there. I was very amazed by this project and by all of the others, and this is definitely what helped me connect it back to my work. So imagine if you can put more meaning into the no-code project you're building. Imagine the impact it could have, either as a side project for a nonprofit, or more on how you can power the local entrepreneurs there. We've seen, and I've seen the Make Your Pad team doing this, offering their services to help the restaurants that were in need for a menu ordering system. Be like, we'll do free consulting for you. We'll provide you all the templates. And I've seen doing this from other teams as well. That has been amazing. You were able to bring the meaning into the hacking because we tend to just hack for the fun, and we tend to hack just for the sake of hacking technology. But it's good to put some meaning in our act and have this real impact in the world. So I'll be really curious to know what are the things that you're going to build? What are the things that you're going to try to achieve? How are the tools that you're going to need there? And how we can help make this happen? And so let me know if you have any questions, any crazy ideas that you want to achieve, and we'll be here to support you.
All right. Nicolas, that was awesome. I feel like we should make a no-code tool that will collect those stories for people to share and contribute, because that will be the very logical extension of your thought process here. And yeah, I fully resonate with that, because Definitely year 2020 has not been the easiest one for everyone, but the good side of things, if there is such a thing this year, is that a lot of businesses and a lot of individuals had to reinvent themselves in this rapidly changing world. And luckily for us and luckily for them, no code was around among all the other tools, of course, that could help them streamline the process that could have taken months, if not years previously, to reinvent themselves, like this family from France or those companies from Spain. If we would imagine like that would, for whatever reason, decide to do that a couple of years ago, that would have been probably technically impossible unless they would slide into the no-code world earlier. So
Yeah,
awesome.
and the budget is definitely not the same, because
Oh, yeah.
if you have this crazy idea of like, I'm a bakery, I'm going to open my app, probably you will have been charged thousands and thousands of euros before even getting started.
Absolutely.
So this is great to put this in the hands of the real makers.
For sure. A couple questions to you. Again, we want to utilize the fact that we have a real developer sharing his, positive feedback about how this can all work together, because there's a lot of unnecessary adversity. And then Andrew has been talking about this, Emmanuel has been talking about this yesterday. It's both in good and bad and creates the buzz, but it feels like it's almost redundant and unnecessary by now, because really there's nothing to share. I mean, part of that solutions for any of those families could have been done with tools with code, the rest of it without code, and vice versa. Who knows, maybe some of these or maybe all of these will grow into big scalable businesses, which at some point will have one or more modules that will be done with code, while the rest will actually work without code. There's really no difference as long as it gets people to where they want to be and gets them there fast and efficient. So coming back to my topic about you being a developer, what would be your message that you would put forward, like to summarize the outlook from the inside for people who are still skeptical, who still say, okay, this is not a serious thing, you can't do stuff with this? How would you reply to comments like that coming from developers? Because skepticism, even a healthy one, is, as we know, is a very typical reaction to the description of what can actually be done with no-code tools. I'm sure that you would get a lot of pushback from developer communities if you would share the amazing stories that you shared today with those people. So what would you reply to people like that?
Yeah, there's definitely skepticism, and I think it's probably a bit of gatekeeping as well, of like making sure that we own this knowledge as developers, and you, the other people, stay outside of this thing. It's too hard for you to keep playing with your sandbox. But this is not very healthy. There are ways for things to connect together, and as Andrew said earlier, when you're building an app and that relies on AI, the developers are going to focus on this AI piece eventually, and you build the mobile app for it. But they get to spend more time on the real important problems, and they get to focus on those things. So I will tell them, read those stories, read the efficiency that people get when they start with a no-code project, and try it for yourself, because there are also different levels of no-code. If you're skeptical about this, you can basically start with a Zapier thing, connecting things together, and you're like, okay, maybe I can't make a whole app with this. Then you go to the next stage of trying a bubble, trying an Adalo, and then here you can have even more complexity of things. And this is slightly getting into your developer space that you already know about, assembling things together. And we tend to say, like, developers might be skeptical about no code, but whenever they can download a package that does something for them, they do it. So they're already using libraries from other people, and they trust it, and they work with it happily. So I don't see why this is so different from the no-code tools.
For sure. We're practical people, so we all believe that this adversity will come to an end, and we'll happily create and build things together. Last but not least, Nicolas, people have been fascinated with your slides and those stories. And until you build a no-code tool that will actually have one of these, can you please share it with the audience to make sure people can play around with that?
Sure, I will send that in the chat. Definitely.
Perfect. Last but not least, I'm sure that there are some more questions, or maybe people want to tell you more about their stories. How did they get in touch with you? Where do they find you? And how can they interact with you?
Yes. So please, if you are online, reach out to us either on the Typeform brand or to me at Pixung. It was on the slide, so you should find the username there. And we want to hear the stories. We want to hear the things that you're building, and if there is a way we can help you. It doesn't have to involve Typeform. Personally, I will be happy to help you out with other stuff. But if you use it and you have a crazy story like this, we are made of stories, and this is how I get my energy. Is through the stories that we hear on how people use all these different tools. So please bring more stories.
Amazing, amazing. Nicolas, thank you very much for your energy. It has definitely been amazing. We feel like this is circulating throughout the conference for both days, and you are a great example of a person that we want to have, that wants to share and definitely makes everything around him or her work better. Thank you, Nicolas.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And yeah, let's be in touch.
Bye.